started to realize that things in our world are not as clear as they seem. The first couple of anomalies which got my attention was the following. First thing that got my attention was, why are all countries around the world no longer sovereign republics which belong to the people, but instead they're private corporations with shareholders and a board of directors? Second anomaly was, why do mothers ward their children to the state on registration of their births? The third thing was, why is every living being on earth registered as a corporation on issuance of their birth certificate? I bet, just like me, are thinking, no, that can't be true. Well, what I'm going to do, guys, I'm sure that you too will be shocked to discover that the truth and the reasons behind this massive deception which has been orchestrated against humanity. So let me take you on a journey live on the internet to demonstrate all of these anomalies to you. Firstly, let's prove that your country is no longer a republic, but rather a corporation registered with the SEC in the USA. This link that I'm going to share with you, so we're going to go live onto the internet to the SEC website. So guys, I reside in South Africa, so you can use this website to check any country in the world. But as I reside in South Africa, I'm going to use South Africa as an example. So let's click on this link and let's go in and have a look. Let's open it up and see. So as you can see, we go into the SEC. This is the live SEC website. And South Africa is on page 2. So let's go on to page 2, onto the next 40. And how you go, we have a look. This is the SEC website. And here is the Republic of South Africa registered as a corporation. So the registration number is 932419. Let me click on that. And there we go. There is South Africa registered as a corporation. As you can see in the top left-hand corner, it says Republic of South Africa. There's the registration number. It has an SEC filing foreign government's number of 8888. And as you can see, the Republic of South Africa is written in all capital letters, which means that it is no longer a republic which belongs to the people, but it is now a corporation registered with the SEC with a board of directors, and can you believe it, there are private shareholders that actually own South Africa.
In 1933, the United States went into Chapter 11 restructuring, hence bankruptcy. Chapter 11 is a form of bankruptcy designed for corporations, not governments. When this bankruptcy took place, our constitutional republic was dissolved and replaced with a corporate democracy, social corporate fascism. Our elected representatives became the trustees, and the international banksters became the receivers. So what does this have to do with our birth certificates? The birth certificate created a fiction, the name of the baby in uppercase letters. The state/province sells the birth certificate to the Commerce Department of the Corporations of USA, which in turn places a bond on the birth certificate, thereby making it a negotiable instrument, and placing the fiction, called a strawman, into the warehouse of the Corporations of USA. Do not underestimate the power behind this trick. It is to con us into contracting with the feds so that they can legally confiscate our property. Since USA has been bankrupt for decades, having no substance such as gold and silver to back it, the only asset it has are men and women and our labor. We are the collateral for the interest on the loan of the World Bank. Each of us is registered via the application for a birth certificate. The Treasury issues a bond on the birth certificate, and the bond is sold at a securities exchange and bought by the Federal Reserve Bank, which then uses it as collateral to issue banknotes. The United States government, in order to provide necessary goods and services, created a commercial bond by pledging the property, labor, life and body of its citizens as payment for the debt. We became nothing more than human resources and collateral for the debt. This was without our knowledge and or consent.
The second anomaly which got my attention was the fact that our mothers are manipulated into unknowingly warding us to the state on registration of our births. I bet you're going, that sounds ridiculous. Well, let me give you some background so that you can get some understanding of what I actually mean. So, as you can imagine, war is very expensive in both lives and resources, and as such, more often than not, both the so-called victor and the vanquished are left with massive debts to repay to those bank gangsters after every single war is over. But as expected, guys, after any war, the bank gangsters pounce on the opportunity to impose new draconian loan terms on those same very desperate governments that are pretty bankrupt after the war. They first demand, obviously, they want repayment in gold, silver, and other precious assets first. But once these resources are exhausted, they then demand the only asset that a country has left to offer, namely their people as collateral. This is exactly what occurred after the First World War from 1913 to 1918, and then the subsequent Great Depression of 1929 to 1933. So as countries all around the world were bankrupt after the Great Depression and that they had used all of their gold, silver, and other precious metals to unsuccessfully try to repay the debt owed to the bank gangsters, all countries around the world were then forced to offer their people as collateral, as it was the only asset they had left. So to serve as collateral against the debt owed by each government to the bank gangsters, they were forced, each country was forced, or should I rather say each corporation masquerading as a country was forced to do the following. Each child born would become a ward of the state on their birth, according to the doctrine of parens patriae. And then on issuance of that birth certificate, each child would be registered as a corporation with a CUSIP number. Guys, you find your CUSIP number as follows, right? It's the 9-digit number above the barcode on a South African identity card. So let's explore this a little further. So between 1933 and 1975, a bond was registered against each birth to the amount of $630,000. This was to serve as collateral against your country's debts. So after 1975, that number went up to $1 million per birth. There's also an insurance policy of $1 million that was issued against your accidental death or disability. That was between 1933 and 1975. But this has also increased to $2 million since 1975. Let me try and demonstrate how this deception is actually achieved by examining a document that a mother completes on your birth. So I'm going to do this by showing you Form DH24A, which mothers are coerced into completing in South Africa on the birth of their children. So when a mother completes this form, she wrongly believes that all she's doing is giving her child a name and registering the child's birth for record-keeping purposes, when in effect, what she's actually doing is acting as an informant, informing the state that she's given birth to another asset, to another one of their assets, which now belongs to the state, which is masquerading as a corporation. Let's understand this jargon for a moment. So in legal terms, the informant, your mother, autographs an indictment at the hospital where she informs, acts as an informant, she informs the registering authority, the state, that she has given birth to additional stock, which the state refers to as chattel, which then serves as further collateral against the debt which the state owes to those bank gangsters. Guys, on this form, I'm going to demonstrate how your mother signs as an informant and not as your mother. So here we have a look at this DH24A. So you see it's notice of birth. This is what your mother completes. But this is where things get really crazy. And I've highlighted it in yellow, and I've put the part where it says informant. So please note, guys, when your mother signs this form, she is signing as an informant. And the reason that it's hidden like it is because it's all about deception. Your mother mistakenly believes that what she's doing is registering the birth of her child, when in fact what she's doing is she's authorizing the state to take ownership of the child. On registration of your birth, grants you or wards you to the state. She's no longer your parent, or should I rather say no longer your guardian. The state, according to the doctrine of parens patriae, the state now becomes your parent.
The government. It loves you and wants to keep you safe and well. It even wants to make paying taxes, fines, and court costs easier for you. How? Well, you'll need to meet your straw man. He was born the same day you were. He looks like you, has the same name, and lives in your house, but you never knew he existed. You will have even paid his parking tickets or taxes. The worst part? He's been dead from day one. From every birth certificate, a legal personality, or legal fiction, is created with the same name to confuse little old you into thinking it's you. So, there is a human you and a paper you, or as it's commonly known, a straw man. So when it seems like government officials, court clerks, or the police are speaking English, they aren't. They're speaking legalese, designed to make you agree to verbal and written contracts without even knowing about it, all spun from Black's Law Dictionary. For example, when the police say, "Do you understand?" you'll say, "Yes." What they are really saying is, "Do you stand under our authority?" Oops-a-daisy, you just created a verbal contract with them. Oh, you clever government. Did you know that whenever you register something, you are handing over title to the person you register it with? That's right. Whenever you register something with the government, they assume it belongs to them. Registered your car? Super! Now you are the registered keeper of your vehicle, and the government can crush it when you don't pay your, straw man's taxes. Expecting a new bundle of joy? Well, then you need to register your little darling with a birth certificate. Then they can start the process all over again and create a new straw man for your little one. Isn't that great? So when Junior grows up, he'll be able to generate revenue just like you have. When you notify on your baby by signing the birth certificate, your child becomes a ward of state, and if the government doesn't like what you're doing, they'll assume it's okay to take the child away, or make new rules for things they don't like. Not enough school? Smacking your child? Shouting too loudly? Then it's off to social services for the little one. When you get a bill, it's sent to you, but belongs to your straw man, not you. That's why bills, fines, and summons start with Mr., Mrs., or Ms. Sometimes you'll see your surname in capitals, just like on a gravestone. That's because your straw man is dead, and just a silly piece of paper, created before you could comprehend or even consent to it. When you go to court, you represent your straw man, so you, the human, take on any costs, fees, taxes, and fines involved for the straw man. The human you doesn't even need to pay them. But you made a contract with the court by appearing on behalf of your legal personality or straw man, just like the government knew you would. Confused? Well, don't worry. The government doesn't want you to know anyway. If you knew, you'd stop paying things like council tax and parking tickets. Because when you go to court, you are representing your straw man. You are you, alive and made of flesh and blood. Your straw man, or legal personality, is a piece of paper created from your birth certificate. And you think it's you. What a silly Billy.
The third thing was, why is every living being on earth registered as a corporation on issuance of their birth certificate? Okay, so let's explore the third anomaly, namely the fact that every human being is registered as a corporation on registration of their birth. So the best way to do this, guys, is to explore the CUSIP number. That's the Committee on Uniform Securities Identification Procedures, which is issued to every human on registration of their birth. Earlier in this video, we demonstrated what a CUSIP number was and where to find it on a South African identity card. It's that 9-digit number printed above the barcode on any South African identity card. So we're going to use this number to go live onto the Treasury Direct website by following the link that you can see on your screen right now. So let's do that. Let's go on live. So here we come. We're now live on the computer. Let's go into Treasury Direct. We're going into the website. Right, there we go. So next thing we're going to do now is we go down and search. We're going to find the value of your savings bonds. So we're going directly now to the value of your savings bonds. And we're going to enter. So first of all, let's have a look. Let's do an e-bond. So we're going to look at an e-bond. The value, bonds registered. So these are bonds registered against your CUSIP number to the value of $10,000. So let's start off with, guys, I'm going to hide this number from you. Unfortunately, I don't want to let this number out. And then you put in the date of birth. And we hit calculate. And as you can see, guys, that bond has a value. So there's the bond. So a bond of $7,500 was issued. It now has, this is one bond. There's a number of bonds, guys. So this in no way shows your total value. When you look at your CQV trust and you look at all the bonds, there's E-bonds, I-bonds, EE bonds, etc. When you look at your total value, it can be a very, very significant value. But the most important thing I want to show you here is not the value that, or should I rather say not your value, but rather proving the fact that you are indeed registered as a corporation with a CUSIP number. Remember, only corporations have CUSIP numbers. Very strange, don't you think? Why aren't we still sovereign beings? Why are we seen as or registered as corporations, and in the eyes of the state, we're viewed as dead and lost at sea? Seems very, very strange, don't you think? I'm sure that now I've highlighted these couple of very strange anomalies, you too must be getting pretty curious about what's actually going on. These first three anomalies that I've described in this video are merely the tip of the iceberg. There's a number of other strange anomalies which really tweaked my interest and got me very, very curious. So let me share just a few more of these with you. The fourth anomaly is, why is a CQV trust registered in your name at your birth? Fifth thing that got my attention and made me go, was, why are we unable to access the value within our own CQV trust? Sixth thing that got my attention is, why is an insurance policy issued against your death or disability on registration of your birth? The seventh thing was, why do we hand ownership of our vehicles over to the state on registration of the vehicle? And the eighth thing, and this is the last one, is why do we accept that the state holds title over our homes and that we only have a usufruct over our own homes? Those additional contracts which I've just shared are only a small sample of how humanity has been manipulated and enslaved by a group of very, very evil bank gangsters. If this video has piqued your interest and you've become interested in discovering even more ways that humanity has been enslaved, lied to, and manipulated, then please follow the link in the comments to visit an online resource which I've created to help you to understand the following. How do I free myself and access my hidden wealth? Who are the group of people who've helped humanity to escape from the clutches of these evil bank gangsters? What is common law and how can I use it to avoid paying taxes, fines, and to settle any debts that I have? Where did Jasara come from and what does Jasara actually mean to me? So basically, what I really hope that this video is going to do is it's going to awaken just some curiosity. As I've said previously, this is really just the tip of the iceberg. There is a massive amount of information, of manipulation, and other devious tools, resources, and techniques that the cabal has deployed to enslave humanity. Now, if you'd like to, or like myself, if you're extremely curious, part of that online resource is I've listed an additional 10, in fact 12 different search engines, which are not Google, which you can utilize to research. There's 83 search terms that I've put in to the resource. So utilize those non-Google search engines and you'll be absolutely shocked to see just how deep the depravity of this group actually is.